Hello, my name is Ivan Peev, and this is the presentation for my CEN 410 project, the Personal Finance Tracker. I'll briefly go over the purpose and scope of this system, the SRS, SDD, and SCD documents for this system, and will demonstrate the working application itself. So, project overview. Personal Finance Tracker, or PFT, is a web-based application for individual users who want a simple way to organize a monthly budget and manually track financial information. The user can create a budget from a guided quiz or a blank editor. Registered users can also save their budgets, enter transactions, review spending, estimate debt payoff time, and create basic investment projections. The system also includes warnings, charts, budgets, and PDF exports. So, the application supports two user modes. A guest user who can create one singular temporary budget without making an account. A registered user, on the other hand, gets persistent storage and can save multiple named budgets, choose an active budget, enter transactions, use the analysis page, track debts, and save investment projections. The project does not connect to banks, import transactions, automatically file taxes, transfer money, or provide professional financial advice. All financial values are entered manually by the user, and this application is not a suitable replacement for a professional financial advisor. It is mainly used to input a user's budget. Move on to the first document. The Software Requirement Specification Document, or SRS, defines what the application is required to do. Main functional requirements include a guided quiz, blank budget editor, global and category budgets, default and custom categories, PDF exports, save budget transactions, report, debt tracking, and investment projections. It also defines quality requirements such as security, privacy, usability, reliability, calculation accuracy, performance, browser compatibility, and maintainability. This is the complete SRS document for this project. Here we have the table of contents, and if we scroll down to page 5, we can see the functional requirements. The functional requirements are numbered so that each feature can be traced into the design in the testing documents. This section begins the functional requirements and separates essential behavior from conditional behavior that is dependent on a requirement. If we scroll further past the use cases that are also important, we approach the non-functional requirements. These define how the system must operate, especially its security, accuracy, reliability, accessibility, performance, compatibility, and maintainability. Now, if we move on to the second document, the Software Design Document, or SCD. It explains how the requirements from the SRS were converted into technical design. PFT uses a modular monolithic Flask application. The browser displays server-rendered HTML and CSS pages. Flask controllers handle requests, service classes obtain the business logic, repositories handle database access, and MySQL stores registered user data. Guest budgets are stored temporarily in the user session as opposed to the database. We move on to the SCD document. This is the complete SCD document for this course. Here we have the table of contents, and if we scroll to page 5, we see the high-level component architecture diagram. The component diagram shows the main request flow. Browser's requests go to the Flask control layer, and then to the service layer, and then either the guest session storage or repository class is connected to the MySQL. Separate adapters are used for features such as PDF generation, charts, password hashing, password recovery. Scroll further down, we have the deployment architecture and dependency and data flow diagrams. These display the same design from a different view. The dependencies move in one direction, which keeps controller services, repository, templates, and adapters separate and easier to test and maintain, which will be displayed in the SCD documentation. So for the implementation, the project itself contains working Flask application, PFT, and its test suites. The source code is divided into routes, services, repositories, models, adapters, templates, and static files. This folder structure follows the layered described design, the SDD, allowing for easier maintainability and testing. The backend is written in Python with Flask. The pages use HTML, CSS, and Jinja templates. SQL Alchemy handles persistence. MySQL stores requested data, and PyTest is used for the automated test suite. We move on to the SCD, the software test document. It verifies the final implementation satisfies both the SRS and the SDD. Testing includes unit and service checks, integration testing, browser-based system testing, invalid input and boundary testing, security testing, performance checks, and a static architecture inspection. Here is the completed software test document for this project. Here's the table of contents, and if we jump to page 7, we can see the display of a test case. Every formal test case includes its objective, requirement, and design coverage, precondition, test data, steps, expected result, actual result, post-conditions, and evidence, some having dependencies and nodes. Every single one of these is like this, and if we scroll all the way to the almost end of the document at page 46, we can see the overall test results. The final test cycle included 22 test cases and 1 static verification item. All 23 executed test items passed. There were 0 failed tests, 0 block tests, and 0 unresolved application defects. 24 of the 25 functional requirements are directly tested, with FR5 intentionally excluded because it's conditional, and all 8 non-functional requirements were covered. Now we have the actual application demonstration. I will demonstrate the main gas and register workflows in completion. Let's head over to the application. So this is the home page. Let's create a budget as a guess using the guided budget quiz, which presents us a bunch of default fields to find out. So 4,000 default income, 1,200, 300, 250, 450, 100. We complete this, monthly income 4,000, global budget 4,000, all these categories, and we're left with $1,700 of free use money. This free use money is our budget minus the individual categories. If, let's say, we add 50 to the other category, we can see it goes up to 1,650 here. We can apply this guest budget, and we can preview it as a PDF, which can then be downloaded, and we can display everything here. And if we are to go back a page, we can see it here. If we end the session, it deletes the budget. So let's register an account so we can save our budgets. We'll name this testing user 13, and we will use the password test1234. And let's say not now, and create a budget using the quiz because it's simpler. 4,000, 1,200, 250, 250, 450, 100. And we will add 50 to the other category and name it the July budget. If we are to save this, we have 1,700 free out of our budget. So let's make a transaction. Our amount will be 50. It will have been done today. A food, we'll say it was expense, lunch, and we paid with cash. Let's add another transaction. We'll say 100. Also today, it will be a utility, expense, water bill, and we paid it with a debit card. If we go to our analysis of our budget, we can see 150 was taken off the 4,000. We spent 150 on expenses, not on income, and here is our spending by category and the percentage of the budget used. Now let's analyze a debt if we would like. Let's say we have student loans we would like to pay off. Balance of 5,000, 100 minimum monthly payment, 15% interest, and we plan to put $250 every month. We can see under this projection, we have 24 months to pay everything off, which we can then add to our transactions as see fit. Now let's see the polar end of investment. Let's say $5,000 I'm considering investing on 15% annually per year. I want to see in 15 years how much I would amass. I see that I can amass $40,000, which feels like a lot. And if I like it, I can save this amount and choose to add it as an investment transaction in the future. Let's see. And categories. Let's add a category called super fun. And if we create this category and go to our transactions, we can see we can add a super fun category, which there's no need to do at this moment. So, furthermore, if we so choose, we can reset our financial data. Let's input our password, reset, which reset everything, and we can also choose to delete our account like this, starting us from scratch. So this is the end of my project, and I depicted everything regarding the SRS, SED, and STD. Thank you so much for your time.